Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is good. So this is another session where we are going to talk about G20. Recently it has been concluded and we are actually going to talk about G20 that has recently happened, as in I'm here talking about 2025. You can clearly see behind me that you can clearly see in the screen that it is specifically held in South Africa, and the title itself is very clear, that is Solidarity, Equality and Sustainability. Along with that, we'll try to cover a basic introduction about the G20, here in this particular video. We'll try to see what are the aspects that has been discussed recently in G20 that has recently happened, as in I'm here talking about 2025. Along with that, I'll here try to put flash on, G20 that has happened in India as well, right? So these are the three aspects, main coverage here that we are going to do. Along with that, I'll be talking about few terminologies also which are more associated with it. This is also very important. They can ask you this question as well, that how many countries are actually part of it. So these are very basic things which we are going to cover today. Yes, it is actually very important from examination perspective, even if you're the one who's preparing for UPSC regulatory exams also, right? All right, before we start, this is the link of my Telegram channel, which is Economy with Payal. So all of the new joinees can join it. This is Economy with Payal. All right. So when I talk about the introduction of it, always remember, I'll be here talking about in a very brief manner. My aspect is not going on a very aspect here, but here I'll give you very brief introduction about it. My main aspect is going to be talking about the countries, talking about what we discussed here, right? All right. So we see its traces right from 1999 only, right after Asian financial crisis. We've seen that it became more active in nature. That happened between 1997 se leke 1998 tak. For that purpose only, we have taken it into consideration. Of course, many developed countries and many developing countries are part of it. And since many developed countries and developing countries are part of it, always remember it brings a lot of representation as well. Representation actually is very important. When I talk about the representation, we need to take into consideration in terms of GDP, in terms of trade, plus population also. And this is one of the highest among many. They say that 85% of global GDP is represented in G20 here. 75% of global trade is represented here. Along with that, it consists of two-thirds of the global population, that too specifically in G20. Along with that, with how many countries are actually part of it? So this completely say that 19 countries, European Union and African Union are part of it. 19 countries include Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany. India is part of it. Indonesia, Italy is part of it. Along with that, Japan, Republic of Korea. Along with that, we are having Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, UK, US, European Union and African Union is also part of it. Your homework here is, you people can let me know in the comment section, or you can do it by yourself also, that in which year these countries have joined, right? They can ask you, if you're the one who's preparing for UPSC kind of examination, they can ask you that which was the year in which India joined, which was the year in which African Union joined, right? So these are the years also matter here, right? And this is your homework, years when countries joined, right? So this is something which is your homework for now, right? All right. Now, representation, of course, I've told you, of course, developing countries and developed countries are part of it, as in here talking about global north plus global south has given their full representation, right? So guess जो countries है that varies annually. Of course we see that जो presentation हुई थी इंडिया में, हो सकता है G20 2024 में हुई हो सकता है वो 2025 में नहीं हो, तो ये जो है वो वेरी करता है. जो इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है that take part here includes UN, World Bank, IMF, OECN, ASEAN, etc. Right? So these are the global representations here. Remember, it started with something where in 1999 we saw its formation just for finance ministers and central bank governors forum as well, but then it was upgraded for the heads of the states as well as governments also, right? And now in 2009 it has been declared as premier forum for international economic cooperation. Of course, annual leaders summit since 2008 is taking place here. And G20 has, of course, changed so much that from this particular stance, now it is someone who's talking about climate changes also. So yes, we've seen a lot of changes since its inception. So like climate changes के ऊपर जो है वो proper discussions are going on. Now this is about the GST, this G20 structure here. For managing it, for monitoring it, is actually divided into two track system. One is called as Sherpa system, right? Now when I talk about Sherpa track, always remember this is about, it is led by Sherpas, as in this is led by leaders, emissaries, right? Now when I talk about this leaders, emissaries here, the focus is on management more, the focus is on monitoring more, the focus is entirely what, in analyzing the problem and giving solutions, also talking about the solutions as well. The focus areas are mainly on agriculture, anti-corruption, climate, digital economy, education, employment, energy, environment, health, tourism, trade and investment. And as told you earlier also, the agendas, the strategies which are made are part of this. The monitoring that has been entirely done is part of it. Coordination is part of it. Negotiations are broadly part of it. On another aspect, we are having financial track also. Finance, I hope you people remember it, right? I hope you people are able to decode it. If it is finance, so yes, equivalent to money only. So when I talk about it, it is led by finance ministers as well as central bank. The previous, as in Sherpas, was led by leaders, emissaries here, right? Now when I talk about the meetings, of course, it is on sidelines of World Bank as well as IMF only. 4 times annually it takes place. And when I talk about finance here, of course, everything related to money is discussed here, right? The focus is entirely on how to collect money, where to spend, right? How to spend. And these are the areas that are discussed. Fiscal monetary policy, part of it, global economy, infrastructure, financial regulations, financial inclusion, international financial architecture, international taxation also. Everything related to money is part of it, right? Now, these are the other features of it as well. The presidency is not at all something which is handled by one person only. It is having unique structure, right? For example, if I talk about today's part here, this is basically broadly it is known as Troika. Troika means 3 aspects which are part of it. For example, when I talk about the presidency, it is led by 3 individuals. Previous one leadership, current one and the coming one also. Previously, if I talk about Brazil, yes, part of it. Currently, South Africa. Coming one, US here, right? So 3 are the presidencies here. Along with that, there is no charter, no permanent secretariat here. Decision is of course non-binding. It means every decision making, every strategy that has been done, that has been taken in that G20 meeting only, that is not binding on any of the country here, right? They clearly say that this is your wish to do it. Like this is more about the ethical sense also, right? If something has been discussed here, this is all the responsibility of the country is only to implement it. Otherwise it is not at all binding here. कोई strict rigid rules नहीं है कि yes, if this has been discussed, you people need to follow it. Of course, no, this is not at all binding on them, but yes, they need to follow it, right? Along with that, cooperation with global institutes is properly taken care. Of course, 2 twins, as in I'm here talking about twins of Bretton Woods Conference here, IMF as well as World Bank are here. Along with that, WTO is also here, which more or less deals with the trade only, right? Now, this is about the key features of the global summit here. That is specifically 2025 South Africa. The venue has been Johannesburg Expo Center. This was first meeting G20 summit that has taken in the African continent, basically South Africa. The host is South Africa here. Theme was crystal clear. I will say very, very robust. This is solidarity, equality as well as sustainability also. The main focus was African continent development only. South Africa ki development, basically not South Africa, but African continent in total, right? Global equity and South-South cooperation was majorly part of it. This was also seen that the robust leaders were actually absent here. Yes, I'm talking about US as well as China also. Xi Jinping and Donald Trump were the one who have not attended that. And when I talk about India, of course, the representation has been very high. And Troika, I told you, the presidency here, or when I talk about specifically president, it has been in 3 of the aspects. Previous, current as well as incoming presidencies were handled here. Okay. Here, specifically focusing on Brazil, South Africa, and the coming one, that is US only. Okay. Now, these are the major outcomes that have been discussed here. Economic and climate outcomes. Adoption of 2025 G20 declaration is part of it. Okay. उसके बाद new G20 critical mineral framework where the entire focus is on the critical minerals only, right? Critical minerals को use करके हम कैसे sustainability को ensure कर सकते हैं and inclusive growth हम कैसे achieve कर सकते हैं, that too via critical minerals, because many areas are the one where there is no presence of critical minerals. They have to be dependent on the few of the countries only, right? एंड फॉर मीटिंग फ्यूचरिस्टिक डिमांड्स, जैसे ईवी हो गया, या फिर अगर मैं क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स की बात करूं, मोर एंड लेस हर एक चीज में यूज होती है, तो उसके लिए उसकी अवेलेबिलिटी करवाना, कुछ ईजी मेथड ढूंढना इज एग्जैक्टली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. यू पीपल लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट सेक्शन फॉर इंश्योरिंग दिस क्रिटिकल मिनरल विच मिशन हैज बीन इनिशिएटेड बाय इंडिया. You people need to tell me in the comment section which mission has been initiated by India. And you can tell me about the recent upgrades about that as well. Climate finance के ऊपर हमने focus करा है. There is a call for finance as in climate, the climate financing only. This is something that we have discussed in COP30 as well. Paris Agreement 9.1 if you people remember. ठीक है. उसके साथ साथ यहाँ पे stress करा है inequality को in energy access, specifically Africa is the focus here. तो यहाँ पे equitable access से चीजें provide करना is the focus. Of course, we need to strengthen early warning systems as well, right? पीस इन यूक्रेन, पीस एंड सिक्योरिटी की अगर मैं बात करूं, ये जो बॉर्डर डिस्प्यूट्स है हमने उनकी भी बात करी है. देयर इज अ कॉल फॉर पीस इन बेसिकली सूडान, डेमोक्रेटिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ कॉन्गो एंड ऑक्यूपाइड पैलेस्टीन टेरिटरी एज वेल. देयर इज अ complete call for peace here. Ukraine, how we can even forget about Ukraine when we are calling for peace, right? So multilateralism and governance is also part of it, where we have emphasized on Ubuntu philosophy here. I am because we are, right? So this is something which exactly tells us about the unity part here. I am because we are. This tells us about the unity part here. Always remember that there are commitments also associated with it. Development and social commitments are associated with it. They actually try to talk in every aspect. Equity is one of the one, right? Equality is one another, as in here developmental focus, women-led developmental focus is there. Climate finance के ऊपर भी इन्होंने start कर दिया बात करना, debt sustainability actions for low-income countries, strengthening multilateral development banks. Along with that, decent work in futuristic technologies here. International standards for trustworthy AI is part of it. Energy security commitments part of it. It also says that we need to support smallholders as well, smallholder farmers as well. Supply chains and surety is also one of the focuses there. Along with that, the focus is of course on the global food security as well. It clearly says that we need to take care of our soil also, because food insecurity is not something which can be, which all of the economies can bear, right? So we need to deal with it. We need to take corrective actions against that. So the main focus is on what that is food security also. Along with that, strengthening of the international financial architecture is also broadly part of it. Now here we are going to talk about India at G20 Summit 2025. So what are the proposed initiatives by us? The first one is countering drug terror nexus here. You people already know about this, this middle part of the global, earth here. When I talk about the mode of the parts here, Uzbekistan हो गया, ये सारे जो हमारे, parts है, they are actually rich in resources. But yes, even when you see Pakistan, even when you see Afghanistan, like these are the areas which are having high terror activities running there. So yes, we have raised one question against that. Global healthcare response team should be enacted, should be initiated. Africa Skills Multiplier Initiative should be there. And global traditional knowledge repository should be there. Open satellite data partnership we talked about, and critical minerals is the focus here. Again, telling you people need to mention in the comment section that what is the initiative that has been started by India in terms of critical minerals availability. उसके बाद अगर मैं G20 प्रेसिडेंसी की बात करूं जो इंडिया को मिली थी 2023 में, ठीक है, जहाँ पे कहाँ पे हुई थी, जहाँ पे जो है हमने देखा था जो दिल्ली में जो है इसको कंडक्ट करा गया था, और 43 heads of delegations जो है वो इन्होंने अटेंड करा थे. That was the biggest one there. The theme was very crystal clear. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, right? That means one earth, one family, and one future, which gives a sense of multiculturalism also. We need to adopt that, right? And this was the first ever meeting of G20 that happened here. 9 invitee countries थी, जिसमें बांग्लादेश था, Netherlands था, Oman, Singapore, Nigeria, Spain, UAE, Egypt, and Mauritius was also part of it. What were the key achievements? Of course, EU inducted as permanent member of G20, African Union, right? Along with that, memorandum of understanding was also signed between India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor as well. These are the importance of the G20 also, right? When I talk about the past summits here, तो हाँ बहुत सारी चीज़ों के ऊपर जो फोकस करा गया है, जैसे US China convergence on Paris Agreement, fair sustainable development, anti-money laundering, tax havens corruption, financial stability, humanitarian crisis, poverty as well, right? Now these are the global initiative which has been started. देखो ये जो global aspect है, इसका हर एक चीज़ का ध्यान रखना इसका फोकस है. तो food security collaborations हो गया, gender equality हो गया, women led development हो गया, balance power between developed and developing countries, and ग्लोबल नॉर्थ एंड ग्लोबल साउथ. उसके बाद प्लेटफॉर्म्स फॉर adversarial nations to dialogue as well. Climate change has been the focus here, right? So these are the things which are broadly discussed. Although we are having multiple challenges, but yes, we are taking corrective measures against that. There's a consensus difficulty to diverse politics as well as economic system, geopolitical tensions. There's an absence of permanent secretariat also. नॉन बाइंडिंग नेचर है, ठीक है. उसके बाद देखो नॉन बाइंडिंग नेचर जो है एक थोड़ा सा एक ट्रबल भी जो है क्रिएट करती है, बिकॉज दिस इज नॉन बाइंडिंग. लाइक वॉट एवर हैज बीन डिस्कस्ड हियर, इट इज नॉट बाइंडिंग ऑन यू टू perfectly follow that, right? This is also one of the challenges here, right? And of course there are a lot of gaps that are there in an economy, and that is there in the entire framework. We need to fulfill that particular gap. उसके साथ these are the way forwards which you can see by yourself also. यहाँ पे जो बहुत सारे जो plans हैं, जो हमारे यहाँ पे जितने भी हमारे पास challenges हैं, we need to take corrective measures against that. चाहे वो inequality aspect में हो, चाहे वो financial gaps में हो, चाहे वो north and south gap में हो, चाहे वो women led development कहीं ना कहीं जो backfoot पे है उसको ensure करना हो, उसको आगे लेकर आना हो, ठीक है. क्लाइमेट जो हमारे फाइनेंस है उसके रिलेटेड हो, क्लाइमेट जो हमारे ब्रॉड अचीवमेंट्स है उसको उसके रिलेटेड हो, ठीक है. सो दीज आर द एस्पेक्ट्स विच आर एक्चुअली वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम द एग्जामिनेशन पर्सपेक्टिव. ऑल राइट, सो थैंक यू सो मच. दिस वाज जस्ट अ ब्रीफ वीडियो अबाउट व्हाट we've discussed in G20 here. I hope you got a clarity, and everything that has been discussed here is full from the aspect of filtration, and these are the pointers which are exactly very important from the examination perspective. Thank you so much. Having any doubt, you can just mention it in the comment section. Of course, I'll address that out. Thank you.